you gonna have a problem? You got a bone to pick?
Oh.
You've come so far. Why now are you
Go
pulling
away.
on my dick?
Oh.
I'd normally slap your
Stop
face
it.
off,
Oh.
and everyone here could watch.
Please.
Nice. Here's some advice. Listen up, biatch.
I will give you money. Please stop.
How much?
I don't know. So,
How much?
all of it. Please.
I don't know what the fuck is happening.
Please.
Nobody does. Hello, guys. Welcome to the Cringe Binge podcast, the only podcast where outcasts are allowed to say their opinions. I'm here with my boy Charlie.
What?
Yep. I'm here with my boy also Jarrett.
What?
And my other boy, Mr. Birdo.
Skeet.
You missed a bit, bro.
You
We were all doing what?
Ruined the
You were all
joke.
saying what?
Wait,
You
let's do
ruined
it again.
No.
No, it's all right. It's
Fuck
late.
it. We're doing it live.
Hello, guys. Welcome to the Cringe Binge podcast. I'm here, Nikki Moore on the B. I'm here with Charlie.
What?
I'm here with also Jarrett.
What?
And I'm here with Mr. Birdo.
What?
All right. We
There you go.
scuffed the audio.
Yeah, we already messed it up. All right, guys. We're talking about the new Nick Cage movie.
Oh, wait, Nick, do you mean Nick?
Fucking Cage. Thank you. I'll be here all week.
Oh my gosh. All right, we're talking about
happens
the
a lot.
unbearable weight of massive talent.
Yeah, we are.
Starring.
No,
No,
no.
we're not
you
doing
get,
it again.
You get one, and that you used it already.
Damn.
Yeah.
It was good though.
It was a good one.
So we were discussing before we started the podcast. Maybe we're a bit too quiet, and I think we
You would
peaked
know.
the volume multiple times throughout the recording.
So we're all being very loud today. How are you?
I guess we are. I mean, it matches the tone of the movie with Nick Cage. You know, actually, like, aside from, like, the little, like, the young Nick Cage showing up, Nick Cage was more or less kind of reserved for the most part of the
Okay,
movie.
so that's one of the problems I had with this movie.
What?
Not for the reason you might think. Excuse me. I didn't want to. That's gross. I didn't want to do that into the microphone.
Coward.
Okay. So when I first saw that young Nick, what movie is that from? His character where he's
I don't
in the
remember.
because it's one of his characters from when he was younger.
I don't remember.
But whatever, like, I thought, oh, okay, Nick Cage's conscience is just going to keep showing up as different Nicolas Cage characters. So next time it'll be National Treasure Nick Cage. And then maybe they'll do a little, like, funny animated thing where it's Spider-Man Noir Nick Cage or something like that. But throughout the entire movie, they only used the same Nick Cage character, and that's something that personally I didn't enjoy because I felt like they could have gotten a lot more mileage out of the Nick Cage's conscience is Nick Cage as the actor by using more than one of his characters.
Yeah.
I feel like, and this is actually kind of something that they touch upon, is that for him and for a lot of actors, the characters they play are just a job. It's something that they do. It's a character that they embody, and it's just for the sake of making a film. And so to him, those roles are not as important as they are to audiences when they watch a movie. They're like, oh my gosh, Nick Cage is playing he's playing this nuanced character, especially back when he was really, like, height of popularity. But to him, it was just like another paycheck. But it's something that he touches upon, and then I feel like this younger version of him was him, like, in his prime. Him when he was just, like, unabashedly, like, loud and just energetic. He didn't care about anything because he was Nick Cage.
I'm going to steal a Declaration of Independence.
That would have been
You're going
interesting,
to
though,
what?
seeing him play multiple
Yeah,
different
'cause
alternate
that-
personalities.
The moment that
context
young
of the
Nick
film.
the younger Nick Cage came on screen, I immediately thought, oh, his conscience is just gonna be, him the roles he's played, and I thought they were gonna play with that and do more with that, but they didn't. And
I mean,
that's-
that was I mean, I kind of see why. I mean, yeah, that would have been a better choice to have different Nick Cage characters show up in the movie. But I mean, overall, with what they basically used, I think it was a pretty clever, like,
I liked what
you
they
can't
did.
hide from your past because this is basically like what you've built your career to be, this insane nut job actor who takes on any roles. And that's kind of like what they started off with the movie, that he just made a lot of bad decisions and chose to be in really bad movies.
It's a
By the way, I'm going to be making Nick Cage references throughout the movie, so not the bees. Thank you very much.
It's a version of. It's a version of himself that he wishes he still was.
Oh yeah.
Especially because we see him in the beginning, and he really wants what he had in the past when he was at the height of his popularity, and it's come at the expense of like his relationship with his family, his mother and his daughter, or wife and daughter. Jesus.
Mhm.
Anyway,
He's
but-
married to his mother,
shut up.
Yes.
Oedipus.
You're not. Anyway,
That Oedipus Rex reference was for all you classic Greek literature fans out there.
Or you high school English class students.
Oh yeah. No, I read that shit in middle school.
but it's something that by the end of it, he learns that he needs to try and move past. And while he's not quitting becoming an actor, obviously, as we've seen at the end of that movie, which is kind of his arc or his problem throughout the course of the film, it's something that he needs to adapt from. That was him then, and this is him now. Not that he's forgetting what he was, but he's moving past, he's growing. And that's kind of, I thought, for the purposes of the film, it was really cool. Although I do think in a different film, seeing different versions of himself throughout would have been really cool to see, just as a Nick Cage fan.
Yeah, as a movie that basically kind of just went to kind of explore Nick Cage as an actor, kind of playing himself in his own movie.
Mm.
One of the things that was interesting was would you say this is a B plot, or would you say that's the A plot?
Which one?
Like just the whole like idea, because like the whole point of the movie is just kind of Nick's.
I think they pay equal attention to all the plot lines that they put.
I mean, I'm not. I'm not saying like it's
Yeah.
like a Sonic the Hedgehog 2 sort of thing where like the B plot, like nobody gives a crap about it, and like all they really want to watch is Sonic. But what I mean is just that
if you wanna get that reference, listen to the previous episode at the Cringe Binge podcast.
yeah,
It's
it's
a
on YouTube
certified
and
banger.
Spotify. And anyway,
Yeah, so that was if you're a fan of self promotion.
It's a shameless plug. We
Yeah.
love to see it here at the Cringe Binge podcast.
Uh-huh.
Continue.
Oh, and by the way, speaking of shameless plugs, go get the Wendy's 4 for 4. This episode is definitely absolutely sponsored by Wendy's.
so
No, we're not.
no, we're not.
No, we're not. I don't know why you even brought such an.
So-
concept
If
up.
we talk about it for free, it'll get their attention, and we will be sponsored by Wendy's. It's a genius plan.
Yes,
I don't
all
think
4
I don't even think
subscribers.
other podcasters usually are like promoted by Wendy's.
Wendy's nuts hit your face.
Anyway, going back,
Anyway,
the movie itself, having Nick Cage, like the overall idea of just him like choosing, trying to get the big like movie role that'll change his career again, and just it kind of blends together into basically this B plot where Nicolas Cage works for the fucking government.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I love the concept, but I have to ask, did they ever bring up the person who was supposed to be on the plane? Because at the very beginning, there's the CIA woman who's like, that's not him. Who is that? I think
Okay.
it's Nick Cage. And then they bring in Nick Cage. Who is it supposed to be?
So, do you remember towards the end of the second act into the third act when they're talking about the drug cartel guy that they're supposed to be merging businesses with that nobody's seen like ever?
Oh,
Ah,
That's the guy who was supposed to be
Oh,
on.
so the whole time they're building up to him impersonating the Italian guy.
because they thought the Italian guy was going to be who was coming.
Wait,
in.
the
Yeah, 'cause
main
that's the-
villain of
that-
the movie?
no,
was-
no,
No.
When he was
They're
when he
all-
put on the prosthetics.
The guy
Oh,
the Italian guy who he's impersonating when he infiltrates the compound.
Now, you guys might have different opinions on this. Was that like to the same caliber as Tropical Thunder? RDJ? Because when that happened, I was like, no, no. That's what they did. That's where they're going with that.
it wasn't as bad as with RDJ. Mostly because RDJ was just flat out black. But
I
no,
mean, they just, I mean, with RDJ, it was just kind of, I mean, sad thing to say. I've never seen Tropic Thunder, but
Neither
like
have
I've
I just
heard
know of it.
Suck my unit.
I've I've
You're
I've
just our
heard-
reference guy, Charlie. We're so glad you're here.
Yeah, thank you.
I've heard
It's the
many
only
things.
reason they
I've
tolerate
heard how controversial it was that RDJ was like doing blackface, but like I can't really understand what the reason was. I mean, I mean, it was an artistic choice or just to kind of portray a character.
So our RDJ doing blackface is the same, in my opinion, is the same kind of controversial as Leo DiCaprio saying the N-word in Django Unchained.
Or Adam Driver saying the N-word in whatever movie that was.
Yeah.
Black Klansman.
Mm-hmm.
Fair. Like it's just kind of included in the
So-
plot, but they're not trying to like poke fun at it. It's just
Yeah.
kind of like in the time.
So if you're gonna go after small tangent, and then we'll get back to it. If you're gonna go after RDJ for blackface, you're gonna have to go after for every white person who's ever said the N-word on film,
yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
especially
Leonardo DiCaprio.
especially Kramer.
But I'm pretty sure that the whole Tropic Thunder thing was it's all supposed to be one big giant spoof movie anyway. So he was kind of digging into how stupid it could get,
Mm-hmm.
and so I don't care. It doesn't bother me. And then some people will be like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I can't believe he did that." And I'm just like, eh.
I mean, it's just that like this, people at this time are just kind of sensitive. Like they see something that's problematic or like could be problematic without context, and they immediately just jump on it.
Yeah. But anyway, get off politics and back to the movie.
Back to the movie, yes, sir.
My thing is, and I know I may get some flack for this, but I honestly preferred the first half of the movie to the second half, because once I feel like it got away from the comic sort of feel to it to just straight up action movie, I feel like it loses momentum.
You and I talked about this a bit, I think, on our way out of the theater. I kind of felt the same way. I don't know if it was the first. I don't know if it was the entire second half, but definitely that last third,
Yeah,
where
I
it
was
goes from being almost a buddy comedy to being just action and them fighting like cartel members.
Mhm.
It's fun. Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't. That second half isn't what the first half
Yeah,
was, and the
it's ju-
first half was hilarious.
Yeah, it was so good, and it felt like we were driving up to this really good climax that I was really gonna enjoy, and then the bottom just fell out entirely, and then the car fell off the cliff.
During the middle of that car chase, I looked out at the other three of us in the theater, and I just noticed like after that point when he's got the prosthetics on, he's pretending to be that other like cartel guy. I don't remember the name. The laughing stopped,
Yeah, the laughing.
and the
completely
laughing did
stopped.
not continue until maybe a bit or two near the end. And that
I-
was just because Charlie was really confused about what the heck was happening.
Yeah, and then I knew that was the time to go use the bathroom.
And I was like genuinely confused with how the
Oh
whole
my
movie
god,
played out.
you would not stop laughing, Alberto.
Can I not laugh at a movie? We had this discussion over in the car.
I
Yeah.
was scared
were
we were going to
driving
get
back.
kicked out of the theater.
We were
Like,
gonna get
genuinely.
kicked out for having fun.
I
Oh
totally
no!
forgot about. I
Yeah,
gotta
you
tell that
for-
story now.
Yes, you do. Go ahead.
Okay, so when we went to see the movie, there was a couple other people in the theater, but there was this one specific old man that was sitting like diagonally left in front of me in the row down here. And so he was sitting and watching the movie. And so I had peeked at my phone because I had gotten a text from, I believe it was my mom. And so I was answering the phone. And so
Get off your phone.
he gets up, goes out, gets one of the workers and says that I've been on my phone and been destructive. And so the guy comes in, he looks for me, he says, "Hey man, stay off your phone. I have other people in here have been saying that you've been distracting them. And so I need you to just keep off your phone and watch the movie." I was like, "Yeah, man, it's all right. I'll be okay." And then this guy, after I take my phone out again because I got a phone call and I walked out, this guy gets up, grabs his popcorn and soda, walks out, and doesn't go back. And this is all within the span of the first 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah. Now, do you know for a fact if it was him? Because I told you, I was like, I think that might have been him.
It was him.
Are you
So-
sure?
It was him.
You're certain?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
there were two controversial things that happened during the movie, which was Nick wouldn't get off his damn phone.
Yeah.
To be fair, you shouldn't
And,
be on the phone.
I mean, and that's why I wasn't mad about that. I'm just like,
and Alberto wouldn't shut the fuck up.
After we got
I
the
would.
first
I mean,
guy-
I wasn't. I was just laughing.
Yeah, you were.
There were
laugh-
like funny
There's nothing
points in the
wrong-
movie.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's
you-
nothing wrong with laughing. We're not saying
there's nothing wrong with laughing. You were howling.
Okay, and
That's his natural laugh.
That's just
his
my
natural laugh is like it's a lot.
It's supposed to
It's
be
funny.
it's supposed to
Don't
be
get me wrong.
a slightly comedic, like fictional biopic, and you were laughing like
is it
was,
even a biopic?
It's
No, it's not
I
at
said,
all.
I
It's
said
a
fictional
fictional.
biopic. So it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I wanna think that Nicolas Cage worked for the fucking FBI
CIA.
or the CIA, but it's kind. I was just kind of genuinely confused throughout the movie. It was funny. I liked it, as Charlie's pointing out that I laughed my ass off. But like at the end of the movie, I was kind of left like, huh. So it was a movie, but it was in an-
So what I didn't understand was that whole movie was
movie?
yeah, was it the movie or did it actually happen?
No.
And
Okay. I can break this down. The entire thing that you saw up until like Nick turns around and he sees his wife and daughter played by different people.
Mhm.
Up until that point
Mhm.
is what actually happened.
So
And
what?
then the moment you see that the actors changed, that's Nick Cage playing himself in the film that they watched.
So the stay with me. This question is gonna get confusing. So I will be referring to the movie we saw as movie 1 and the movie that Nick Cage made as movie 2 because it's the movie within the movie.
Okay.
Mhm.
So is movie 1 real, and then movie 2 is what they created, or was it movie 2 the whole time?
I feel-
Movie 1 is what we went to the theaters to see, IRL.
Yes.
We all, the four of us, went to a theater and we saw movie 1.
Mm-hmm.
Movie 1 is about Nick Cage and this other guy making movie 2, which is literally the plot of movie 1.
I feel like
okay.
I feel like they should have just made or not should have made. I feel like there was a point in the movie where it just stopped. Like he said, like the actors changed. There was a point where like that's when the movie started. When I think it was basically when they were like, it's gonna be a romantic comedy or whatever. Like like it was like halfway through the movie whenever they like Nicolas Cage knew something and then the other guy knew something, and that's when they probably were thinking about it. Or was that like halfway through the movie?
The movie 1 does not turn into movie 2 until the last couple seconds.
You know, I'm thinking about it now. You know how much of a comedy thing it would have been if they would have decided to wait until the gunfire started happening and then they do the cut. So like when we get to Act 3, all of a sudden all the actors have shifted because
that-
now we're in
yeah.
the movie. I think
Because
that
now
would've
we're
been
in the
funny.
action
Yeah,
movie.
that would
That
have
would've
been,
been
would've
funny.
been
that would have been funny.
But then for like 20 minutes, I imagine that was the first draft of the script.
That's
Because
probably
once it
what
turns
that
into
was.
generic action movie, all the actors have changed except for Nick Cage. But then you would have had like 20 minutes of the audience being like,
Like,
the hell
what
is
is going
happening?
on?
Yeah.
And then
Who are these people?
well, I think
it's
would've been-
like if halfway through if halfway through American Psycho they replaced Patrick Bateman with a different actor.
Yeah, I think the sort of idea of like the movie being within the movie like works like as an interesting level. You just kind of like think about it.
Yeah,
But there might be like certain things that like you watch in the movie that you probably didn't get on the first viewing. This is definitely like a movie that like you probably would watch like 1,000 times and then like get everything. You know what I'm saying?
and,
Like
learn
Fight
something new,
Club,
yeah.
like that kind of movie where like it like confuses the audience. But I think the whole idea of the movie trope being within a show, I think worked better in like BoJack Horseman. Like there was this season where basically he was working on a TV show, and they recreated the set to look exactly like BoJack's house, and it just kind of blended between the two instead of it being just like the movie kind of shows, and then at the end they reveal that it was all bullshit and it was just the movie.
I think like when
But
they
like
were
the-
when they
like-
went on that drug trip, the Pedro Pascal, the other guy he's talking with, literally just says, "We should write a movie about us." About
And
us.
then that-
and
that-
then literally the plot of movie 1 is what the plot of movie 2 is.
So it's kind of like I get like
Which only is more confused by the fact that the last shot is them pulling out of their apartment and looking out at the skyline, and over in the corner is the poster for the film advertising the movie that Nick Cage starred in at the end. It's the same poster.
The end of the movie like kind of felt a bit Truman Show to me, to be totally honest. Like it there were some similarities to Truman Show, you know.
I'm wondering
No.
if they filmed.
Have you seen the Truman Show?
No, but
Oh.
I'm just thinking about this. If they filmed
think so.
movie 2 exactly like movie 1 went, so we could have this internal paradox where it's Nick Cage and Pedro making the movie about themselves, about the events that happened in their lives, and then in the movie they're making the events of whatever happened in their lives, and so on and so forth.
Wasn't
Now
the
it's
name of the guy
movieception.
Javi, not Pedro?
Pedro Pascal is his actual name.
Oh, okay.
Is the
I'm
actor.
not just extremely racist.
That's my job.
Like you, like you were just naming the fucking like Pedro as like a general name. I was like, wait, what the fuck? The guy.
Alberto's getting offended.
Yeah.
You're getting offended. We're all offended here.
Look in my eyes.
We'll have to post this.
Look,
Put that on the thumbnail
Yeah.
so that people have context.
Well, I'm just gonna
for
put that
once this
throughout the
moment
video,
comes up.
basically for the people listening
Here,
in.
Alberto,
What?
look at me in the eye.
No, my fucking eyes are just burning with the fucking light that you're doing. So for the audio listeners, basically Charlie just grabbed like some light sticks and just put them on his eyes, and Nick took a photo, so we're just gonna place it on the video as we're speaking right now.
Maybe we'll cut this out and just show you when it
Yeah.
what we're looking at.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We do it live.
Yes,
That's
sir.
how we do it.
Yeah.
Speaking of Pedro Pascal, probably my favorite character
Oh,
in the
that's
movie.
no, he was
ironically
great.
enough,
to say that.
I love him.
I think
like
he
Nick
was my
Cage is all
favorite.
well and good, but this just die in the wool Nick Cage fan also being like who's also relatives with like cartel members, and he's just like really excited to be like best buddies with Nick Cage is the most
That is the-
wholesomely
that's the
hilarious
funniest
thing
thing
I've
Yeah, that
ever
was
seen.
adorable.
He was my favorite character throughout the whole movie. Even when you find out that he's like maybe probably, but like you know he's not gonna do
From the
it.
beginning, I was like,
Like when you find
Not
out like
Javi.
yeah like
not Javi,
it's like-
poor Javi.
yeah like Javi's a drug cartel leader, and I was like, no, he's not.
No,
I was like, look at this man.
Yeah.
Look at his
When-
smile. Look at his cheeks when he
Yeah.
smiles. No way.
He shared the shoes with Nicolas Cage.
No,
Yeah.
wait, the
swap
second
shoes,
Nick
man.
says, I've been a thespian for over 16, 17 years, and my time profiling would tell me that he's not a drug dealer. I was like, yeah, he's not a drug dealer.
I was never
Nicolas
once-
Cage knows more than the FBI.
I was
CIA.
CIA.
Same thing.
No.
The CIA killed Kennedy, and the FBI did Ruby Ridge.
That's a topic for another day.
Oh, politics.
It's not-
Regardless,
All right,
the CIA.
so we all know our
Conspiracy.
favorite character. Who's our least favorite character?
That's
The villain was fine. I think he was like,
no my least favorite character. It's tied between the two CIA agents because they didn't need to be there.
Well, they were
I,
funny.
I like Tiffany Haddish. Tiffany Haddish.
Well,
did a
no,
good job.
here's what they could have done, and
the
what
mother or the daughter.
what would have made the movie better is that instead of having two comic relief CIA characters, they could have just had Nicolas Cage as himself slowly figure out throughout the movie that Pedro Pascal has ties to the cartel, and slowly figure out through context clues that like completely independently of any government intervention, just figure out what's going on and independently investigate for himself what the hell's going on. It would have been like a mystery within the movie that's already going on, and it would have added another layer to the movie that is missing because you have these what I feel as are forcefully inserted characters.
Everything that you just said, and
Uh,
plus no.
I feel like it becomes a stretch at that point. I think it would change the entire dynamic of the movie. Like the
Well-
entire movie would.
The entire movie.
'Cause
would
at
be
first,
different,
like-
and the script requires it.
because at first Nicolas Cage kind of
Technically
aligns
it's true.
himself a little bit with the CIA, and then I mean, like he's kind of just like it's kind of like a force at first. Like you're just like you want to basically believe that Javi is not a bad guy and he's not with a drug cartel, but like the FBI is kind of just trying to reveal the truth, which turns out that they were wrong, but still like it has that dynamic at the beginning, but once they introduce the next villain, I guess I can see what you mean by like they were kind of inserted in there because they really had nothing else to do after the main villain was introduced.
I feel like the reason I say that they were what? The reason I say that they were forcefully introduced is because the moment they're no longer relevant to the plot, they kill them off.
Yeah.
So
This is very true.
that's why I feel like they were like a late stage addition to the script, is because you could have Nicolas Cage independently investigating Pedro through context clues and like little bits and pieces without the CIA plot line.
Potentially, but I don't think he would have had any reason to suspect.
I would
The only
say
No,
reason
what
he
I- what
suspected
I'm
is
saying-
because the CIA was
No,
like, yes.
what I'm
And he's like,
saying
"What?
is-
no.
What I'm saying is, instead of the CIA bringing these suspicions to his mind through some sort of context clues or something, he could have had these suspicions come to mind independently and started investigating on his own.
Yeah, but that's not the script.
Okay.
No, what?
Okay.
You're not
he's
listening
saying that
to
the
me.
script could be
Yes, I'm
changed to
saying
be
the
that
script
way.
could have been different.
Do you
but
think
we're
this-
reviewing the movie we got?
Yeah, and I'm reviewing it and saying we're reviewing and constructively criticizing the movie. And
Yeah.
one of my criticisms is they could have changed the script.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
opinion is wrong.
Well, that's
Well,
actually
well, here's
that's
my
the glory of it. It's his opinion.
Look at me in the eyes.
I was a joke.
Well, what do you think of like the whole script and like the whole story of the movie?
Jarrett,
Just Jarrett.
look at me in the eyes and tell me I'm wrong.
You're wrong.
Hi, wrong.
So
Hi, wrong. I'm Dad.
Jarrett, what do you think of like the whole
You're
script
back
and
with
like
the milk?
What do you-
yes.
yeah. What do you think about the entire script of the movie?
Based on what we got after it was filmed, I like it.
and that ends the Cringe Binge podcast. I'm kidding.
That's a joke. That's a joke.
That's a joke.
My least favorite, it was definitely the mom.
Mm.
It's just like,
She's got the least character
stereotypical,
development.
like terrible mom. You know.
Yeah, they could have also just taken.
She wasn't really a bad mom. She was just a
She was just
unsupportive
done with
wife.
Cage's shit.
I feel like the whole plot line of Nicolas Cage having a midlife crisis, kind of the whole. What are we looking at?
The board behind you for no
Oh.
reason while I'm hearing you talk.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay. So the whole thing about Nicolas Cage's ex-wife is that it adds to the plot line of him having a midlife crisis, but they could have taken her out and had the exact same movie
With her daughter.
with the daughter instead of just an estranged wife and daughter, just the estranged daughter with no wife.
I would agree.
I mean,
The
what
mother
I mean,
had the least to do.
Yes.
yeah, the mother had the least to do, but like at first in the movie, I kind of liked the mother just because like it contrasted with Cage's character of him being insane and her being kind of like a straight woman compared to him.
Yeah, I
have
feel
more
like
to do
they
at the
had.
beginning.
At first it like was like a really good idea. Then when like the villain was introduced and like Javi made it so like the wife and the daughter came to Spain. Was it Spain?
Can
And
we?
I thought it was like kind of a like the same thing with the police officers that they were just kind of like captives.
Can we talk about like the weird product placements that were in the movie?
I didn't notice.
Because when they introduce the villain, the first thing he
Oh, it's
does
the
is say
Froot
Fruit Loops are the best cereal.
Oh yeah.
Did you see the
Uh,
box though?
What
It
do you
wasn't even real Fruit Loops.
Yes, it was.
It said unicorn Fruit Loops on it.
That's a real thing. They made unicorn Fruit Loops.
Yeah.
Jared's face.
But
They
see,
ta- they
that-
ta- taste- They taste just as bad as regular Fruit Loops.
but see,
Okay,
now that
I'll
we're-
fight you on that one.
Okay. Anyway, and like okay, I get that you have to have product placement in a movie to get product endorsement, but like really Mitsubishi, that was the best you could do?
I don't.
You look like the anglerfish from Finding Nemo.
That's the point.
Yeah. You know, I was thinking. I was thinking about this when I got home the day we were watching it. Because the very first scene of the movie opens up with the French, like the French president's daughter getting kidnapped.
Was it French?
Was it French?
I thought it was like Italy or something.
Either way, it's
Because-
it's somebody's president's daughter.
It was. I think it was in that same country,
Eastern
Spain.
European.
No,
But-
wait, no, it was,
It was
what-
Spanish.
It was like a Latin American daughter.
That's what
Because
I'm
they had
saying.
ties to the
It
cartel.
wasn't
so it was
Latin
some
American.
leader with
I think
ties
it
to
was
the cartel.
Spain.
It
It-
was
it doesn't matter.
somewhere in Latin America. I think.
Spain,
We're
Latin.
getting away from
Yeah.
my original point, but the
Wait,
thing,
hang on, guys.
Oh,
I gotta go.
Jesus.
I gotta take a nap.
Oh my gosh! You
He's
cut
turned the
cut
lights
off. But the whole thing I was thinking during that entire thing was we were watching it, and I was like, dang, she kind of cute. And I kid you not, like 0.5 milliseconds, the guy gets rocked in the face by some random cartel member,
Yeah.
and I'm like, dang, she about to die.
Within the first
Well-
3 minutes, when that dude like just socked her in the jaw, I went, ugh, and
With-
she, whoomp, and I was like, is she dead?
within the
Dead.
within the first minute of the movie, Nicolas Cage is already stroking his own ego, because what she's doing in the first part of the movie is watching a Nicolas Cage movie and saying how much she loves Nicolas Cage.
Do you know the origin of this movie? At all?
Nick fucking Cage.
Okay, I feel like for context, we should discuss how this came about because Nick Cage had nothing to do with the writing or production of the script itself.
Wait, so
There
this was
there-
a love letter to Nick Cage?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
Oh.
I love
the
that.
writer of the script has been trying to send this script to Nick Cage so that Nick Cage would star in his movie about Nick Cage
Oh,
for
so
years.
Yeah.
And Nick Cage kept turning it down because he thought that it was too exaggerated and it didn't portray him correctly. So he had to explain, it's like, no, this isn't like a biopic. This isn't like real. It's supposed to be a buddy cop comedy, like fantasy, exaggerated version of yourself.
so
He like wrote him a handwritten letter about how much he meant to him growing up and why it's has to do with the script and the characters and the arcs and all that.
So-
and then Nick Cage finally accepted. So the script itself he had no involvement in.
so Pedro Pascal is the author self-insert.
More or less.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I remember
pretty much,
hearing-
yeah.
Okay.
I remember hearing like Nick Cage, like he turned down the script like 4 times.
The movie itself is like about the importance of film and like how like movie stars have an impact on people on like audiences.
Hang on, another character they could have completely written out of the movie was Pedro Pascal's love interest, who was only revealed as a love interest
Halfway through.
like 7/8 of the way through the movie.
She was pretty hot though. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice her.
You didn't notice,
We should
bro? I was literally like, dang, the handmaiden kind of cute. Dang, I wish I was Pedro Pascal. Actually, I really don't, because I wouldn't want to live in a drug mansion. You know, what
It
I'm
was a
saying?
nice mansion though,
It was nice.
It was a nice compound.
I'd live on that island.
without the drugs.
without the drugs. Well,
Or
you
with.
know, sometimes
Well, the only way you would
kind of experiment.
the only way you would be able to afford that island is if you were selling drugs.
Okay.
That's fair. Or you could be Nick Cage
Yeah, or you could be
with good business decisions.
Yeah.
Very, very true.
The LSD scene.
That was the best.
Let me just transition to that. Just randomly speaking of drugs, the LSD scene. That was a great scene.
It's so
You know,
good.
I don't know what it was, and like this, Charlie's just mad at me that I laughed. But like,
Nobody's
the
mad.
the one thing
No,
that I
I'm
got,
mad.
the one
Shut
thing
up.
I kept laughing was just that Nicolas Cage, for some fucked reason, just kept having his mouth wide open throughout the whole movie. And I don't know why. I just found that so funny.
We for just to let you guys know, on the way home from the movie, we were screaming at each other because Alberto was laughing too loud during the movie.
Yeah,
It was
Too bad.
not-
Well, that's
there
the
was
thing.
no anger.
He was pissed off, and I was like, "Well, bitch, I can't. I want to enjoy the movie on my own terms. I don't care about the people in the theater, and I'm not gonna say that as like I hate the people in the theater. It's just kind of like I came to pay to see a movie.
Well,
Can I
you,
not?
you know how many times I've paid to see a movie and there's someone in the audience who won't shut the fuck up?
That's
Okay,
me.
but there's a difference between speaking throughout the movie and just kind of reacting to it.
Reacting to it by going, "Ha!" That's what you did throughout
Well,
the
that's
whole
not
movie.
even what you just heard Alberto do. Was just a and then 3 minutes later.
Yeah, that's yeah.
You're laughing because you know it's true.
Yeah, we got it.
That right there,
Yeah.
but louder.
But louder and more annoying because we're in a movie theater.
Well, they complain more about Nick on his phone.
They complained about Nick once, and because we already had been called out once for like not practicing proper theater etiquette or whatever, that's what made me scared. And I kept looking at you, I was like, "Shut up," because I was like really scared we were gonna
No,
get talked
you-
to again.
No, look, I was literally gonna be
It's
like,
just
second
kinda-
time.
No, I
It's
was
a
gonna be
little
like-
scary to see Charlie call me out while he has those fucking like things. It's kind of like a god just being like, "You will be punished."
You're
It
too
was- It
loud.
was funny he was talking about it, and in my brain, I'm like, dude, if this guy comes back again, I'm gonna ask him to go get a condom. Go to town. At this point.
All right, intermission. We gotta work this out of our system.
Need to catch my breath.
Oh no! It's
What have you done? Right, so I'm talking about I'm nearsighted.
you're nearsighted, and you're making it worse by having those lights on. You fucking dipshit.
Is that better?
No. Better on us, worse on you. You fucking idiot.
I looked up and I just see he turned the lights to go directly into his fucking corneas and just turned them right back. Is this better? Just crying.
God.
My lungs.
Anyway,
Fuck your lungs.
Fair enough.
going back to
I
the
will.
movie.
Dale?
Going back to the movie.
The movie that you wouldn't
The
shut
drug
the
trip
fuck
scene,
up.
remember?
Okay, stop calling me out on that, because if you had a problem with watching the movie with me, go fucking watch it again without me.
Okay, I'll buy another T-shirt at Spencer's.
Fair.
The joke is past.
This episode
move
is
on.
sponsored by Spencer's.
No, it's not.
No.
I don't think I'd accept that sponsorship.
I don't
Yeah.
think so either. You know.
Yeah,
So the drug trip scene was actually really funny,
it was.
just because it was just absurd. It was a Nicolas Cage level of levels of absurd.
Yeah.
In all the best ways. Like he's on the top of just this small like stone path, and they're trying to like get over it. And he's like, "You have to let me go." He's like, "No, I won't do it." It's
Oh
like,
yeah,
you
that
have
was a
to.
good scene.
And then he drops him. He's like, "Ah!" And he just drops like a foot. And he's like, "Go! You have to go!" And he's like, "I won't forget you." And then he just walks around, and he's like,
You know, we could have just walked around here, right? And I was like, oh.
"It's just."
And then they just moved on and went.
And then they
on
just
another
moved
scene.
on like nothing happened.
And there was and the thing is that was a 3-minute scene.
It was constantly moments
that
like
was
that.
that was 3
The
minutes
drug
long.
trip scene
Oh,
is a
and the-
legitimate plot point
Go-
in the story. It's not a gag; it's a plot point.
And then going into the shed full of Nick Cage memorabilia. That was
funny.
fantastic.
Okay, that one.
That was
good.
kind of cute
The
because
real
you kind of
guns.
saw the as soon as it was kind of like, oh, they have the real guns. It's kind of like a gag, but once they like introduced the plot of the drug cartel and they started killing people, it was like, oh, okay, they're probably gonna use those guns.
How
Yeah,
much?
no,
How much
I
you
s-
pay for that mannequin? 3,000.
Are those
give you
were
20.
those guns just a
I'm
reference
sorry,
to Face
Mr.
Off?
Cage, but it's not for sale.
So the moment those guns showed up on screen, I said, "Oh, Chekhov's gun."
Yeah. Speaking of Chekhov's guns, there's a couple of them in this story, and me being like amateur filmmaker was like, I know, I recognize.
Okay, I can see better now.
Classic
Where the-
Nicolas Cage tropes. Chekhov's gun.
Was that a
2 in the
reference
case
to
and a
Face
knife
Off?
in a Jeep.
or no?
Face Off?
Yeah, the movie Face Off.
What was a reference to Face Off?
Like the like
stuck on
that
your
little
bit,
pose
dude.
that he did.
What?
I'm
I
or
still-
was
don't
it-
know
I'm
if
still stuck
are
on
the
your
guns
bit.
from Face Off?
The golden gun.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Honestly, I've only seen a handful of Nick Cage movies. Like it's both National Treasures. The Wicker Man, just 'cause it's garbage.
Ghost Rider.
I've seen
Oh
Ghost
yeah,
R-
the Ghost Rider movies.
I've seen Ghost Rider and Willy's Wonderland, which is just
I remember
Nick
it-
Cage as a silent protagonist in Final.
There
Five
was
Nights
this
at
movie that was like
Freddy's.
The Sorcerer or whatever the hell it was.
Oh, The
and he-
Sorcerer's Apprentice. That
Sorcerer's
one was
Apprentice.
another one I totally forgot.
Oh yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah.
When's
That
the
was
last
good.
When's the last time you've seen that movie?
When it came out
I saw that movie.
on disc.
I saw that movie a year and a half ago because my brother and his girlfriend wanted to watch it again, and so I sat there and watched it with him. I'm like, You know, they just shamelessly threw in secrets by, I think it was One Republic, just for the sake of doing it.
Yeah, One Republic was popular. It's a
Yeah,
kids
that
movie.
time.
It's like Percy Jackson and the Olympians.
We
when
don't
that
talk
movie
about
came
the
out.
Percy Jackson movies.
The Sorcerer. I mean,
Why not?
Sorcerer's Apprentice. That was like a.
Yes.
Fair enough.
That was a weird movie. I think that was one of those movies where he was just kind of like, man, this was a mistake.
So I just a couple minutes ago I looked it up. That younger Nick Cage, that was his conscience.
Yeah.
That was never in a movie. That was just a persona that he created himself.
That's right. It was a persona he created in interviews that he called like Nicky or something.
Yeah, Nicky. It
Nicky
was Nick.
Moore on the beat Wicca Wicca.
Woo!
Okay.
Fair enough. Were
Yeah.
you in this movie?
No,
No.
no, they cut me out. I recorded scenes for it, and then they were just like, yeah, no, we can't have black people in here. It's a Mexican movie.
Okay.
At least I didn't say it.
Oh my god. I'm still stuck on the bit at the very beginning where he's just like, Nikki, get out the car. And so he's just stopped in the middle of the road and he's just sitting in a car by himself.
Yeah.
I'll say like throughout like you know how like you said like the first act you found it like the most funny and then eventually like you thought it went kind of downhill throughout the movie. I feel like it was the opposite for me.
Downhill. I loved the entire movie.
No, not you, Nick.
That's just me. That was my opinion. I think
you didn't like the entire movie?
no, I liked the first two acts in the movie. Once we got to Act 3, it's still up there, but
Act
it just
3
kind of like
is more
tapered
generic
off.
action movie.
So like,
but it was funny.
if the line is up here, it kind of like tapered off down to about here.
Oh, okay. That's right.
Yeah.
No. I already did that last episode.
Man, we're just doing a lot of
Oh, you
visual
twice?
gags that like
That make
eventually
no
that make no sense
at
to a
all.
person who's doing audio, who's just listening to this.
Perhaps you
audio.
guys would prefer a video podcast.
Let us know.
Let us know in the comments below if you want to see a video podcast.
You
of
know, the
us.
Spotify comments that exist.
Do they?
YouTube comments?
No, they don't.
No, they don't.
Spotify doesn't have comments.
Shaking my head.
Yeah.
Shaking my bacon.
SMH my.
SMH my head.
All right,
SMH shaking my head. Yes.
do y'all want to save the final thoughts, or do y'all have any other thoughts on the movie?
What else can we talk about? What did you guys think of the relationship between Nick Cage and the family itself? Like the dynamic there, because I
They
feel
didn't.
like
They didn't really go into it much, to be totally
they
honest.
didn't go
it was
into
just
a
like,
lot.
It was just like Nick Cage has an estranged family movie. Oh, the estranged family is now part of the plot, and then end
Yeah.
of the movie.
But like I feel like maybe that might be the case with a lot of like actual actors, might be like estranged from families and whatnot, just because like
What, like, what's his face who just served his wife legal papers on stage?
I will say, there was
What?
one scene where like the daughter actually stepped up and called Nick Cage out, where
Oh yeah, the
that part where like she was like, you only really like care about yourself, and like all the interests and conversations we have are about you. That scene was like pretty good
Yeah. It was
about
really-
like developing the
Who-
family a little
who's-
bit.
who's-
genuinely there
you
was a
know-
moment or two of like legitimate like emotional like arc forming.
Yeah,
like,
basically when they
relationship
just
stuff. It was actually kind of cool.
when they just brought the family out to Spain and they were just talking to Nick Cage, and they were having that like heated argument, and Javi meant well just bringing them along. That basically was just kind of that was a pretty good scene, I
Coffee
will
just
say.
at the other end
Like,
of the
that's-
table, just waiting for them to like resolve their emotional trauma so they
Yeah.
can get on with making a movie.
I
Yeah.
s-
It's like,
He's like, "Wow, that was a really bad apology." He's like, "What do you want me to do? You flew my family out here."
yeah.
aside
You
from
flew
that,
my family to a drug cartel's pleasure mansion.
aside from that scene, I do
Except
think,
it's not the bad kind. Like,
I do think the family didn't play that much of a big role throughout the movie. I think like the main focus of that movie was basically just Javi and Nick Cage just doing stupid shit,
which
and
is the
then-
best part of the movie.
which is the best part of the movie. Don't get me wrong, but like whenever we were just wondering what the relationship with the family is, and I don't think it was as strong because that wasn't really the main focus of the movie.
Yeah, they didn't flesh it out.
And
True.
do you really think it needed to be fleshed out that much?
Well, it didn't need to, but they could have, you know.
Yeah, they probably could have, but I feel like it probably would have added more information about how Nick Cage treats people in his personal life aside from people that are in his like movie producers and stuff like that, and that sort
Oh
of
yeah,
thing.
his agent. That was another character that seemed kind of
They pull Neil. That's my least favorite character. They pull Neil Patrick Harris to do 5 minutes worth of movie.
And half of that was like a weirdly like sexual massage.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was
yeah.
it.
He's
That-
sitting
there
there
was
getting
no
like
reason for
slapped
it.
with like a
a palm
feather
frond.
duster palm thing, and he's just like, "Oh yes," and I was like, "Gee, that was like the most
Haha.
uncomfortable thing
Ha,
I've
ha, ha.
ever seen."
Nick Cage's agent is a masochist. Ha ha ha.
He's also gay. Did you know that?
Yeah, Neil Patrick Harris is gay.
Oh, okay.
Another win for the gay people.
That actually
Well,
makes a lot of sense.
I didn't know that. And doesn't he play like one of the horniest men alive on How I Met Your Mother?
Yeah,
This is hilarious.
he's
Well, he's a player.
which is very ironic.
Mm-hmm.
He's like constantly I must like overcome this new obstacle to get with the girl, and that's his main shtick throughout the entire series. And it's like turns out he never did that ever in real life.
Yeah.
I mean, actors.
Yeah, I mean, but that's how you know an actor is good at their
So
job.
here's
Exactly.
all y'all have shared your least favorite characters. I don't have a least favorite character. That there are characters that could have been written out of the movie because they didn't really expand the movie that much. But
right.
it's not that the fact that they were in the movie ruined the movie. It was just like,
It's just like
None of them were to the point that it was to the movie's detriment.
yeah, it was
And
like
I would agree with that.
I could have gone with or without some of the characters, but I don't actively dislike any of the characters.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay. It looks like we have hit that point. We're ready to give our final thoughts.
All right, Nicholas, would you like to give your thoughts on the movie? You
Okay,
got
um,
1 minute and 30 seconds on the clock, and go.
Okay. So, this movie, to be 100% honest, I went in thinking, wow, this is going to be an interesting movie listening to Nick Cage and Pedro Pascal be buddies for an hour and a half. And I was right, because that's exactly what this movie is. This movie is if you were watching this movie on LSD while they were on LSD driving around. That's literally what this movie feels like. But I think that is to its benefit, because this movie is so goofy and so confusing that you can't help but feel the contagiousness of the comedy of it. That's why I love comedy like this that isn't just in your face. Like Marvel is really bad about that. This is the joke, now laugh. I'm stupid, that's the joke, now laugh. I very much prefer this sort of comedy where they decided to push back and focus on like subtle things. I think that works well, and I think that directors could look for more towards that for future movies. I do think that the movie kind of caged off towards the end, and with that pushes me to my decision on this movie being an 8.5 out of 10, a thumb and a half up, because I cut the other thumb off and gave it to Nick Cage, and that's it. Thank you. Have a good day.
All right. Charlie, do you want to give your thoughts now?
No.
Okay, Jarrett, we're moving on to you. All right, I guess it's me.
Well, okay, so
Oh, now you want to go.
yes.
Frick.
I agree with Nick on a lot of what he said, and I just my favorite part of the movie is that whenever I saw the scenes of Nick Cage and Pedro Pascal interacting with each other, I feel like that them filming those scenes was like legitimately, it wasn't just a paycheck for them. They were actually having fun filming those scenes. That's what I got when I saw. That's what I felt like it was when I watched the movie, because they genuinely seemed like they were having a good time and just being friends and being goofballs. And in like again, any of the issues I have with this movie are surface level and superfluous and just tiny things that could have been changed, but if they're not changed, it doesn't detract from the movie any. And so
That was thunder, guys. What the
Holy-
frig?
Yeah.
It's raining like pretty heavy right now.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty bad.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Just continue.
And so I would give the movie
It got worse. What
My
the
just
frick?
keep
God.
going, Charlie.
I would give the movie a 10 out of 10. And,
Oh wow.
And I would chop off both of my thumbs and give them to Nick Cage.
Oh, look at
Yeah.
you.
Oh wow. That's an honor.
Yeah.
Alberto, why don't you go ahead and go? I want to save mine to last.
Okay. So my thoughts on the movie are basically, I usually go into the movie blind, and I don't see much of the trailers just because it's more interesting to see the movie as it unfolds with no expectations. And this movie did not really disappoint. I was kind of thinking that Nicolas Cage was going to be fantastic in the movie, and Pedro Pascal and Nicolas Cage played really well together, doing contrasting roles because Nicolas Cage is known for doing crazy characters, and I don't really know that much about Pedro Pascal, to be honest. But
It's the Mandalorian.
I've only seen the first Star Wars movie, my dude.
Oh, well. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. You have. We need to continue with that.
Yeah.
We'll continue that at a future time, but right now, for the Nicolas Cage movie, the action scene I thought was really fun. It was kind of like just like a cute kind of fun for me. Like, it wasn't like a revolutionary like thing, and it doesn't really need to be because it's just a buddy comedy movie that just included action at the end. But overall, I give this movie a thumbs up. I would say that like Nicolas Cage fans would really find some entertainment throughout this movie if they know all the references and stuff. And as a person who casually just watches Nicolas Cage movies from time to time, I can say that like this is a really fun movie to watch with the whole family.
I wouldn't say the whole family. There's some adult stuff in there.
No, I know that's a
the
joke,
frick,
Charlie. That's a joke.
That's what we call a funny.
All right, Charlie.
Unlike you.
Charlie.
Damn.
Jarrett, your turn.
All right.
Let's hope the power doesn't go out again.
Yeah, let's hope. I enjoyed this movie quite a bit. Much like Alberto, I saw no trailers going into this. I read like a really quick, like 1 or 2 sentence synopsis on like the theater website about like what the heck was going to be in this movie. I just heard that it was supposed to be like a good time, and I got a lot. Personally, I got a lot more out of that than I had initially anticipated. And part of that is what I talked about there at the beginning, is that you can tell that this was just a love letter from the scriptwriter, who I don't believe has written or directed anything before this. This is his like debut, and it was entirely based on like the importance of, and many different characters had that same through line where it's like the importance of film to audiences and how it like inspires or makes you like recontextualize how you move forward with life and what you want to do. And so it's just kind of it's really cool.
What's so funny,
that
Nick?
I found.
Say it, you little pussy.
If you oink, I swear to God. Damn it. Moving on. This movie itself was absolutely hilarious, but you can tell that there was more lying underneath the surface about like why this movie was made, and I actually enjoyed it quite a bit for that reason. Like you mentioned, there was the third act kind of tapers off into just kind of being a generic action movie.
Who is you?
Nicky Moore on the beat.
Thank you.
As you were saying.
I like this movie.
Okay.
2 thumbs up. Both cut off, given to Nick Cage
That works.
in a sealed wax envelope.
All right,
All
then.
right, gang. I guess that's it for this episode of the Cringe Binge podcast.
The Crim Pop ass.
So remember, you can check us out on Spotify. We're on YouTube. We're on something else I don't remember the name of. But if you guys enjoyed, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe on YouTube, follow on Spotify. You know all the Jimmy
Download
jazz.
on Spotify.
Yeah, don't forget to comment whether or not you would like to see us in video in some way, shape, or form in the future.
We'd certainly love to try it.
And so we're gonna get out of here before the storm cuts us off again.
I love you.